Going over to the cultural part podcast, you have a Somalian refugee in Minnesota taking advantage of the girl in the worst possible way, and community, Somalians, still support him. Now, I try to keep this moderately family friendly, so I'm changing up some of the vernacular, give you time to let the kids leave the room. It's brought to us thanks to Ed Moktis, and I'm not intentionally trying to butcher this guy's name, just kind of, well, Lord knows I'm not perfect, but for the record, I'll try to pronounce his name accurately. This shall not go well, but the attempt shall be made. And again, this is credited thanks to End Wokeness on X, and he says, quote, Pauline Ibrahim abducted a 12-year-old girl in Minnesota and raped her. St. Paul Islamic Center wrote a letter of community support saying he has not assimilated into non-Somalian culture. So they're saying he was a... I was about to try to Somalian accent. I don't know if I can do that. I'm the captain now. He was a good boy. The attempt was made. But yeah, they're saying, oh no, he's really a good guy. He's not assimilating to the American culture of not abusing women and children. Which one would venture to ask, why are we importing them again in mass? If your culture is okay with hurting women and children, I don't want that in my country. Again, my family came from Cuba. We're not monsters. We didn't do that. It's an instance where, very uniquely, some cultures think that's acceptable. And this community saw he did this. He hurt a girl in the worst possible way. And they're saying, oh yeah, we still support him. He did some good. Yeah. It's one of those things where you can do some good things, but I don't think I thought of this original quote, but I think there's some truth to the saying, perhaps self-made here, who knows. You could do good things, that doesn't make you a good person. This might be a good example. They claim he did philanthropic things. Now, again, this is from the, probably going to butcher this too. Allah Hassan Islam Center Incorporated, 95, and it's from, this is hilarious. The avenue name, 955 Minnehaha. That's really it is. Minnehaha Avenue West, St. Paul, Minnesota, which I purposely mispronounced as a slight to that weak conquered state. And this is a, quote, community support letter for Qualine Darili. They say, quote, Dear Judge Burns, we are the undersigned members of the Somalian community. Write this letter to you to express our strong and heartfelt support for Qualine, who is a member of our community. So this is the letter they're writing saying, we want to give him our support after he hurt a girl in the worst possible way. They continue saying, quote, many of us first met Qualine through our shared journey as Somalian refugees, arriving in the country with little more than hope and determination to rebuild our lives. Like so many of us, Quali faced a challenge of starting over a new culture, learning English, adjusting to a fast-paced system, and raising children in an environment far different from the one we grew up in. Maybe if you don't know those things, maybe not come here. You didn't understand you don't hurt children and women? You need a pamphlet for that? I'm only partially exaggerating, being sarcastic, because we've seen this in the UK and the EU, where they're giving refugees pamphlets saying, oh yeah, by the way, thanks for coming here, but in our country, we don't hurt women and children. And again, I don't care where you come from. If you hurt women and children, I don't think you should be around. I don't care. I guess it's insult to injury that, they're coming here in terms of, especially not assimilating culture. But yeah, there's some American people here who do the bad things. I'm a big proponent of judges having the option for the death penalty, not legal in all states. Thankfully, more and more are adopting that as an option for hurting the most innocent. Now, they say, quote, I love that. These people are so evil. They say, before the situation, this is more than just a situation. This is a soulless demon thing to do. This is evil. So it should be rewritten to say, before we knew he was an evil piece of shit. But again, I'll read it as they said it. Now, they say, quote, before this situation, Qualine was known as a devoted family man and an outgoing person who would talk to anyone he came across in the community. Let me stop right there. Maybe ask yourself, why was he so willing to talk to anyone? Now, they continue to say, quote, whether taking his children to school or a park, we witnessed his love for family and kids. Many of us also know how close he is to his grandmother. He is her support line. Many of us have been to his home, worked with him, and met him in different communities and activities. Each time he was kind and outgoing human being. Now let me add, except he was a monster the whole time. They continue to say, quote, he has been an active volunteer in our mosque, Al-Shahi Islam Center, where he regularly visits during Friday prayers, Ramadan, and community events. You'll often find him helping elders, finding rides home, or staying after to help clean up. His service has never been about recognition, just a quiet commitment to supporting the spaces that hold our community together. Despite the financial pressures of life in the U.S., Colleen also still managed to support the needy, his family, back in Somalia. A friendly reminder: the average Somalian refugee costs us $1.1 million a piece. Again, that's an average. Some it's zero. Some they even become taxpayers and give back. Again, the average is $1.1 million, which again is a pretty penny. And they say, he even helps grandma with her medical bills, et cetera, et cetera. Or does he just give her our money? I'm not sure. So they're saying, oh yeah, we still support him after he did this evil. Yeah, it's he's just not similar to culture, you see. Yeah, maybe not allow him back. Maybe not allow this to happen. You see this more and more greater frequency happening in Minnesota, specifically Minneapolis. They have an explosion of refugees specifically from Somalia. And again, given the ineptitudes of the leadership over there, Tim Walz, I can't but wonder, will he be yet another example of just getting a slap on the wrist, maybe no cash bail, just out by the afternoon? It's not out of the realm of possibilities. It's happening time and time again. Yet, as if you needed another reason not to live in Minneapolis or Minnesota. I'm sorry, Minnesota, as I, again, purposely mispronounced as a slight to that weak and conquered state. A state that is so weak and conquered that they redesigned their flag to look like the flag of Somalia. Almost like a photocopy of a photocopy. It's actually almost worse than the flag of Somalia, which I thought was almost impossible. And I think a lot more people are getting more and more fed up with it. It's one of the reasons it's got 1.5 million views as well as 25,000 likes. And one of the first comments comes to us thanks to Elon Musk saying WTF getting 1.1 thousand likes. Nia Henderson says, quote, unbelievable. We cannot coexist with people who think raping children is acceptable. In 2.2 thousand likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, they need to be removed. No other options. Getting 3.8 thousand likes. David Santa Clara says, quote, that's literally textbook Somalian culture. Getting 818 likes. Paul Suzupa says, Ilhan Omar supports this Somalian culture. She pledged her loyalty to it. Remember that. Getting 359 likes. Yeah, we shouldn't have people in our politics with dual citizenship. And that happens on the left and on the right. You think we need to be voted out or primaried. Harmon Lee says, so raping young girls is Somalian culture. Getting 1.6 thousand likes. This is a grok image from Trip and Troy. And he has a picture of Mr. Omar Fatih, who was, again, he was running for mayor of Minneapolis. And it says, quote, Somalians' average IQ is 68, yet we scammed Tim Walz for 50 million. Trump might be right again, getting 242 likes, which no, is $1 billion actually recently they scammed taxpayers out of. Let's see. Ashley has a picture of a gal at the poster board saying, quote, I'm for giving Muslims the same rights here as they give Christians in their own countries. Getting 471 likes, which is to say, yes, none. Ugh, dark humor. Hurdle, Arizona says normal world. It's a father holding his daughter up in the air. It says Islamic world. It's a husband holding up the same girl, but it's now his wife, getting 72 likes. Ashley also has a meme of the gal from the 1950s, it looks like, with a coffee cup saying, they're doing it again because you didn't hang them last time, getting 600 likes, which Ted Nugent, excellent, brilliant philosopher, gun rights activist, as well as famous rock band guy. He once famously said, I believe he was on an interview with Piers Morgan when he's talking about, why men and women should have the right to bear arms everywhere they go. He says, I don't like repeat offenders. I like dead offenders, which, statistically speaking, does solve the problem, at least with that specific person, 100% of the time. And you look at certain crimes where there's a very high propensity that they're going to hurt women and children again. Is it really worth the risk of having them walking about? I would argue no. Now, again, in terms of the legality and the burden to get to that death sentence, United States, you need a lot of evidence, much more evidence than just sending someone to jail. I think we need to streamline that process. Personally, it takes over a decade to sign the death penalty in the United States. That's comically too long. Let's see here. Thomas Payne, 6771, has a picture of a hanger, a noose. It says, I am past the point of just wanting them in prison, getting 544 likes. Robert Seffer says, Muslim Somalian sex gang says raping white British children is part of their culture. He's 754 likes, which, yeah, Europe is a weak, conquered, terrible place. And the UK. Pretty much more and more countries, unfortunately. let's see. Son's Liberty 357, exceptional cartridge for a pistol or lever action. He has a meme of I believe it's, well, I forget what garment that is. Probably Islamic man. It says, all I want to do is move to your country, rape your women, bomb your buses, riot in your streets, and demand that you accept my religion. Why can't you tolerate more of that? Getting 481 likes. Vicky has, I was going to say, it's got to be the quote of the year from Adam Smith. It says, quote, mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. Getting, again, 81 likes. Viral Dose Daily has Red Foreman from That 70s Show with the Steven Crowder meme. Changed my mind. It says, dead PDFs don't reoffend. Changed my mind. Getting 275 likes. Ryan also has a tweet from Elon from August 2025. It says, if tolerance means the end of Western civilization, then we cannot be tolerant. Getting 208 likes. Now, again, in terms of all the refugees in Minneapolis and Minnesota, again, a lot of them are coming here legally. They're coming through the process. A lot of people in the comments are saying we need to deport all of them. I mean, back in the day, there was the legal mechanisms you could use to actually deport communism, back when a country took that threat seriously. In terms of modern, what could you do? Again, a lot of Republicans, I believe Valentina Gomez over in Texas is very much running on the whole idea of vote for me, I'll deport Muslims. From a legal perspective, they never elaborate and say, what would allow them to do this. The spoiler, I don't think there really is anything they could do, especially, again, for the ones who came here legally. There are some, again, who come here illegally, but again, it will be interesting to see what happens. In the meantime, I would especially say stay strapped, which is to say, obviously, if you are a law-abiding citizen, follow your local laws. But yeah, it's one of those things where, especially in cities, or as I pejoratively call them, shitties, concealed carry is I would argue, a requirement. And watch your kids extra close when you go to these cities, because unfortunately, seems to be the most evil people and most evil things happen in cities. So it's heartbreaking to see these things happen time and time again. And I don't see the government I don't think the government there is going to do anything. And I don't know what Trump could do or Republicans could do as this become a political issue on a federal level to interfere with the state. It's getting more and more dangerous in these cities. But I would just say do whatever you can, work as hard as you have to get money to live in the suburbs or somewhere far away. But yeah, stay safe and let me know your thoughts and comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Hey. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback. Let me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.